I do my best to impersonate a reporter is what I say a lot. Coach Kenny, please respond to what I said yesterday.
Thank you, Chad. When I heard the podcast and your statement is totally false information.
13 of 23 as Lucas White continues.
That's a big-time player making a big-time play, Darren Lucas White.
And welcome to the CSRA Sports Wrap Podcast. I'm Charles McNeil and Chad Cook right alongside. Good to be back with you guys. It is our fourth episode underway as we speak, and we couldn't be happier because we're broadcasting live. You're looking live inside of our respective studios as we prepare you for another great podcast with both Georgia and South Carolina State tournaments in full effect on the road to the Final Four. The girls' teams are in the CSRA and the Palmetto State, and the boys' teams as well had a struggle this week as we only had two teams survive and advance, and now they're headed down I-20 toward, or normally they'd be headed down I-20 toward Columbia, but instead they can take a short drive down 25-121 in the case of Saluda, or the Aiken-Augusta Highway in the case of Silver Bluff toward the USC-Aiken Convocation Center, where the championships will be played in the public school ranks, and somebody's going to be crowned this year a champion from the CSRA, Chad.
Right, yeah, Silver Bluff, the 2A representative in the championship game. Kaylin Glover and Aaliyah Lawrence have had great seasons, and they'll be playing Saluda, who is close enough to our area to say they are our own, I guess. And, we look forward to that, I guess, noon on Wednesday.
Yeah, definitely looking forward to it. But the key thing in all of this is if Silver Bluff were to win, they'd be reminiscent to me, at least, of Tampa Bay winning on their home field in the Super Bowl just a few weeks ago.
That's right. And, it's a great place over there, the USC Aiken Convocation Center. So it will be very nice. I don't know how many fans they'll allow and how many they'll ration off to each team, but I know Silver Bluff will be well represented. They've had a groundswell of support on social media here, supporting the girls. And, they've got a lot of people rooting for them.
Yeah, 650 is the capacity for the facility. And so that's all the fans that'll be able to get in the building. The good thing is they're the first game out of the gate. So they'll have an opportunity to have their fan base in there and be able to watch a full day of basketball as they're playing the state championships Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday inside that facility. I know one team I'm looking forward to seeing up there is Dorman, as they might have a shot at going for a five-peat, And speaking of that, we talked about a team and the struggles that the Palmetto State teams had this year. And they all played extremely well. But North Augusta, you wonder, is the dynasty over after 4 consecutive championship runs?
Yeah, I know I was had them in my mind as a favorite to win their 5th straight, like Dorman might do on the boys' side. And what a great team that North Augusta team is. They bowed out in the Elite Eight. Nothing to be ashamed of there, obviously. 6 years ago, they lost in the semifinals, and then they won 4 straight. And Kyle Dawson of the Aiken Standard summed it up nicely, what this team has been able to do. So he says, quote, "What the North Augusta girls basketball program has accomplished over the last 6 years is nothing short of legendary in this state. 4 straight state titles, 6 straight region titles, 20 straight playoff wins, a 53-1 record in region play, and 148 wins and 11 losses overall. Uncountable is the number of college players that have come through that program. I was going to count it up before this show, but I needed like a golden calculator to do that. So what a great program, Coach Al Young, and just a dynamite program. Kiana Lee was the player of the year in Class 4A in the state of South Carolina this year. Paris Smith is a sophomore. Zuri Goldsberry is a very good player. It's just a great program. I could go on and on about all the names from the past 6 years that have just captivated the state of South Carolina when it comes to girls basketball.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that to me because I just did a game with Augusta University, and Aaliyah Bell was playing on the team. She's a transfer. And so she played in their final contest. So, the lineage continues with now these young ladies playing on the college level. And you sent me up a couple of years ago to cover their 3rd state championship. And what a outstanding experience that was to be courtside, not only for the lower state, but also for the championship game.
Yes, you mentioned Aaliyah Bell. Sarah Cruz plays for the number 2 ranked Lander Bearcats. Oh goodness! You see, I should have Miguel Burns' daughter. What's her name? Oh gosh, Maya Burns. Yeah, Maya Burns plays for Georgia Southern, and Al Young's granddaughter. So that would be Young. Amari Young plays for Old Dominion. I mean, they're just everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere.
They are. And again, great season, North Augusta. We know that you'll bounce back, and 4 out of 5. Not too shabby at all, 4 consecutive, and you can go for your dynasty for sure with a 5th championship next year. And as you said, a lot of young talent coming back.
Oh, I forgot. By the way, I forgot Talia Burns and Ingram. So this fun story I love. Talia Burns shared on social media at some point that basically, or I think she did. Maybe somebody used her as the example. But those girls, what they do, at least what I was told on social media one time, is they play coming up through the ranks in elementary school, middle school. They play with the boys in the boys rec league, and they they don't shy away from that, and they go up and play pickup ball at Riverview Park with the boys, and they just and you can just tell when they play. It's just a different brand of basketball at North Augusta.
But that's the other thing, being a one school city. You can have the kids playing in your systems through the rec leagues and all of that. That implementation comes in handy when you get to wanting to make a deep run. The camaraderie of these young ladies as well. They play all year round together, and then playing against the boys certainly you would think would help to elevate their game and maybe help the guys elevate their game as far as fundamentals, because the girls certainly tend to have a little bit more fundamentally sound games without all the herky-jerky moves and trying to put on the human highlight plays.
Especially the North Augusta girls.
Yeah, no question about it. Great example to follow. All right, so we encourage you to look at their highlights over the last 4 years, and also encourage you, more importantly, to get out and check out the state championship game this Wednesday at the USC Aiken Convocation Center, as it'll be Saluda, and they are undefeated, and they're going to take on a very tough team and a very talented team from Silver Bluff with only 1 loss. So between them, just 1 loss. It should be a great game Wednesday at noon. Well, Chad, let's dive into the world of baseball as we'll get to Georgia State playoffs a little bit later. But baseball is up next on the CSRA Sports Wrap podcast with Chad and Charles. And it was an emotional day in the life of the folks in Evans, but also you got a chance to get out and watch some baseball as well.
Yeah, I wanted to see way more baseball this week than I ended up seeing, but I've got some things to share. One is Tuesday I watched Augusta Christian and Aquinas play 6-2. Aquinas won. It was an odd game where each team had a pair of hits. Still 8 runs scored. One thing, far from an expert in baseball, I'm soaking in as much of it as I can so far. But fielding and just playing a clean game is so important. So many runs scored, with pass balls or maybe wild pitches, but a lot of pass balls, and an error here and there, or things like that. So that's what Aquinas, I believe, really did well. Played a much cleaner game than Augusta Christian. Augusta Christian's goodness, Zerbal is his last name, I think. Mr. Zerbal, I'll call him. Struck out 10 batters in the first 4 innings, gave up 0 hits, still trailing 3-0 when he gave the ball to the manager. So and then they ended up scoring only 2 runs in the game. So that was enough to secure a victory. A lot of pass balls, things like that. So, but he's a really good pitcher. Really impressed by him. And then on the other end, Aquinas, Alex Roberts pitched a complete game, only gave up 2 hits, and he was really impressive in the way that he hung in there. He doesn't have like a speedy fastball or anything like that, but good control, didn't get in any trouble. And Aquinas just played a really good game in the field. And so that's my little amateur opinion so far, is that a clean game leads to wins more than often in this high school baseball. But I wanted to be at Evans versus Greenbrier. They honored Chris Holliday, a legend in local baseball, played on those dynasty teams for Evans, hit I read up about the when they honored Chris Holliday, who died unexpectedly this year. He's about my age, right around age 45, if I'm not mistaken. I hope I got that right. Ashley Brown in the Augusta Press wrote about the day when they honored him before the Greenbrier game on Thursday, and he talked about his 17th inning home run, and pretty sure it was 1994, maybe 1995, but it was in the 90s when I was kind of in high school, and Evans was just a complete dynasty, and a big home run in postseason play, and an emotional day and everything. It wasn't about the home run or Chris's baseball ability. He was drafted into the major leagues. He's a big time player, but he's also a very active in local baseball ever since, and much loved man. And so it was an emotional day. And then Ashley, basically brought a tear to my eye when he described the fact that the first hitter of the game, or I guess the first hitter for Evans, I think it was Evans home game, was Leighton Lackey, going to play baseball at Clemson, big time football player as well. He hit a home run to the same over the same fence that Chris did 25 years ago. So just, really regret missing that. Seems like it was a special day. And then, the other one that I was going to go to that I couldn't get to was Saturday morning. Evans and Aquinas played, and Evans took a 9-0 lead. Aquinas came all the way back and won 12-11 in extra innings. I'm sure that was an exciting game. Westside's on fire. They're 4-0. They've been beating most teams by a score of double digits to 0. Guys like Cameron McFalls and Jack Wise are, lighting it up. And so I look forward to seeing them in the future. And, baseball in general seems to be pretty exciting this year. And I'm excited to get back out there to see it. Oh, on top of that, Augusta University started its season with a 3-game series against Flagler at SRP Park. So, baseball's in the air, and I know we're getting back to basketball, but I'm excited about the action on the diamond.
Yeah, and we'll be able to continue that coverage, of course, as the former voice of the Green Jackets and play-by-play guy for Evans during Chris Holliday's days, and also Greenbrier State Championship runs back in the day as well. I'm very happy that we're covering baseball on this podcast. I mean, I'm asking you as a listener or viewer to tell your coaches, your teams, your players, everybody involved, the team moms, of course, especially all the fans, to send us your schedules. augball.org is one way to do it. Obviously, you can messenger us as well. You can hit us up on Twitter with links to the schedules. That makes it very easy for the coaches and or team moms that are doing that. And then most importantly, just hit us up and tell us your successes. Let us know the big games you have coming up this season, because we'd love to get out and cover a little baseball. Now I've got to get down to the business of my dugout seats. My dugout seats had me at the Richmond Academy contest. They were at home just before I went over to cover Laney basketball on Wednesday. Got a chance to slide by there and watch their matchup against the Red Devils of Lincoln County.
The 1-1 delivery has taken low into the backstop, and the run will score. He is in there. And Lincoln County with their first run of the season. Bases are loaded. Only one man out. Lincoln County at the plate up 1-0. And the pitch. It goes back to the backstop. Got another man coming home, and he's in there. And the runners advance, and it's a 2-0 lead for the Red Devils. The bases are loaded for Sam Downing. Nobody out. It's hit on the ground. One run will come through. And a high throw gets away. And that'll bring in the second run, and we're tied at 2-2. And here comes a third runner toward the plate. He's in there. And Richmond bounces back to take a 3-2 advantage. Jack Kaiser at the plate. And he rips it. For short. Another run comes in. Jack Kaiser with a key RBI single. Extend the lead for Richmond. All the way to the wall. 1 run scores. 2 run score.
Let it go, eh?
Wow, you can see there, Chad. That team was a well-oiled machine in that opening contest. It was the opening contest for Lincoln County, and I'm sure that their coach will get everything dialed in, locked in as well. Coach H does a great job of having his squad well prepared throughout the season, and of course playing against a higher level of competition as far as classification is concerned in Richmond. And Richmond actually, not only did they score 20 in that one, they've scored in double digits in 3 of their games so far this year. So looking forward to seeing them as the season goes on. They could be one of the classes of Richmond County this year.
Yeah. West Side, that's the other competition there.
No question about it. So let's keep it moving and get back to the world of basketball and tell you, Swainsboro. No,
sorry,
go right ahead.
Brett Zerbel, Augusta Christian. Brett Zerbel. I checked it. Sometimes live, I just have a little brain seizure there, but it was Brett Zerbel from Augusta Christian. Go ahead. Sorry.
You're absolutely fine. Let's keep it moving. And we touched on the Silver Bluff matchup against Saluda in girls basketball for the state championship. Now it's time to go to the Peach State. And in the Peach State, we want to congratulate the Grovetown girls who roughed up Richmond Hill 54-32 in their opening round matchup. In the second round, the Grovetown Lady Warriors, easy for me to remember, talking about forgetting names. They leaped past Lee County 60-52 as they had a solid production all the way around. And next up is an Elite 8 6A meeting at River Ridge, the top seed in Region 7.
Yeah, so Grovetown goes on the road. They're one of 4 teams. We already talked about Silver Bluff on the South Carolina side. So 5 teams total, 4 teams in Georgia that are alive. I guess we have. Does anybody play at home? Should I name the 4 teams, or do you?
No. Yeah, I'm going to go on. We'll get back to the girls because we're going to kind of go back and forth in the Peach State. So when we complete those, we'll give you a chance to jump in and chime in. Let's go now to 6A on the boys' side, where Evans and your boy Kevin Kinney, they're going to host the quarterfinal matchup versus Centennial. So that's at least one home game. The Knights held off Effingham by 3 and took down Tucker 63-50 on Saturday.
Yeah, it's interesting. A couple things. One is the way seeding works. So Evans is a 1 seed. They'll play number 2 Centennial. That must mean Centennial beat a 1 seed yesterday. Usually 1 seed will play at home. This year they've got no neutral site until the championship game. So starting in the Elite 8, you can be a 1 seed and have to go on the road. Same thing in the Final 4 if you're able to make it there. So Evans lost they get the short end of the coin flip when it comes to playing Centennial. Is that true? I've got how is that? Why would a 1 seed go to a 2 seed? Is Evans going to play at home? Let's see.
No, I said home game.
Yeah, so they're playing at home. So I had that wrong. Okay. All right. Evans hosts Centennial, and then if they're able to beat Centennial, they will host almost certainly Wheeler in the semifinals. Wheeler, that we're talking about a top 20 team in the country. I said early on, I told Coach Kenny, he called it my boy Coach Kenny, during our contentious interview a couple of weeks ago. I mentioned the fact that I would see Evans as an underdog against Wheeler and an underdog versus Kell. I didn't mean any offense at that. I just have a healthy amount of respect for the Wheelers of the world. And but the more I look at this, somebody sent me a message before the game against Tucker yesterday, said Tucker only got beat by 6 by Wheeler. Well, Evans ran Tucker off the court, just obliterated him yesterday from what I saw in the highlights that Seth shared on AUGB ball. So forget everything I've said about Evans being an underdog. They're properly matched versus the Wheelers and the Kells of the world, and certainly the Centennials of the world. So they get to host Centennial, they get to host Wheeler, and if they can win those 2 games, they're going to be in the state championship against, I guess, Kell maybe. But that team is loaded. Size everywhere. Rashad King, Brayson James, Devin Story, along with a very good point guard, and Josh Demincy. Tyson Jones is a big presence underneath. Just a loaded athletic team that can shoot, pass, and dribble. They can beat anybody. They showed it yesterday. They've shown it all year long. And, watch out, Centennial.
This, of course, is the CSRA Sports Wrap Podcast. Georgia Peach State basketball in Quad A. Cross Creek took care of business on both the girls and the boys' side. And let's start with the ladies, who annihilated Appling by 43 in the opener, and then they ambushed 54-41 their second round opponent You talk about a team that is ready to go. That is Kim Schlein's squad, the Razorbacks, firing on all cylinders. Next up for them is a trip to Sonoraville.
Yeah, now you said quad A. It has been quad A for years. Now it's 3A, but these two right here, Michaela Bogans and Jordan Dorsey, are just insane the way they play. The first two clips that Zach Tinkham shared on AUG B-Ball yesterday, one was Jordan driving left on the left baseline and kind of doing like a Dirk Nowitzki one-footed halfway fadeaway. And then the next one he shared was Michaela Bogans going hard right towards the right baseline and whipping it back, throwing it between her legs the backwards way, which is a little bit of the old Michael Jordan versus Brian Russell type play, but with the new twist on it that the kids do now. And she's a freshman. She does that and sinks the jumper. I mean, those two are awesome. I told Seth a week or two ago, I wanted him to come on the show and be like, tell me, is Michaela Bogans the second best player in the area? Because I'm pretty positive Jordan Dorsey's the best, and Michaela being a freshman, I'm thinking she's probably the second best. That team is awesome.
Yeah, they are really, really good. I would, lean on maybe Kiara Turner for Laney, who's been a scoring machine for the Wildcats and just a sophomore. But, Michaela Bogans is pretty tough. No disrespect.
Your objectivity is in question there.
Yeah. We'll get a chance to see a matchup. No, we'll see a matchup before long. Summer League is right around the corner, Chad. We'll probably be covering that as well. Coach Kelly at Cross Creek in AAA, they've been rocking through the AAA ranks as well. As how does 92-55 sound to you Razorback fans over Tattnall County, or a second round win at the Crib as they took on Americus-Sumter? The Razorbacks go back to Lafayette this week, as that'll be their Elite Eight game. The boys from T-Town also taking care of business in that region as far as the 2 seed, as they're also surviving and advancing. And they'll face the top seed Peach County 80-77 as that one comes down to the final run. Mike Thomas and his young freshman, really good.
Am I on?
You are. It appears as if Chad may not be able to hear us. He may have lost us down the network line, but let me tell you, this is the CSRA Sports Wrap Podcast with Charles and Chad. We welcome you back in, as of course we're doing it live. So with live programming, anything is possible. But Chad, we just got finished watching a little bit of highlights of Cross Creek, and we talked about the fact that in the AAA ranks, this team has blown through 2 opponents, and next up for them is a trip to Lafayette.
Yeah, well, Cross Creek went all the way to the championship game last year, and I think they might even be better this year. Showed some of those guys like Devin Pope and Corey Trotter. Those were key members of that team that went all the way last year. You add Richard Visitation on, a guy like Josh Dorsey, a senior, just a ton of all those guys I just named, kind of the top 4 players on the team. They're all seniors. Antoine Lorick is a freshman. He's about 6'8" and can really play. He's a sophomore, about 6'8" and can really play. It's just a loaded team, and they play together. Coach Kelly is an excellent coach. He gets them doing everybody in a position to succeed. And, it's kind of amazing that we've got so many teams in the Elite Eight. We've covered 2 of them so far. You mentioned Thompson being the third, led in a lot of ways, led by a couple freshmen. Levante Bobo Ivory has just taken the area by storm, along with another freshman. I don't know if we'll talk about Augusta Christian, but so both of those two teams in the final 8 in Class 3A, we already covered the fact that Evans, state championship possibility, Cross Creek state championship possibility. We'll get on to Butler. You mentioned 92-55 Cross Creek. I don't know if it was a misprint or what, but that Butler score just jumped off the page to me.
Yeah, we'll get to them in just a little bit. And we talked about the boys from Thompson. Want to make sure I clarify on that. They upset Region 2's top seed, that's Peach County, in their victory 80-77 to advance to the Elite Eight. And Mike Thomas, does he ever age, Chad?
No, what a great guy. Many years ago, this would have been 10 years. Well, whenever Frank Booker would have been like a senior, and I think that was 2013. So almost 10 years ago, Gerald White, one of the best players to ever come through our area, mentioned, he sent me a text or something. He said, I'm watching Westside play Thompson, and Marvin Fields is on the bench for Westside, and Thompson and Michael Thomas is on the bench for Thompson. Those guys were coaching when I was playing. Gerald played in the mid 80s, early 80s, and Coach Fields is now not coaching anymore, but who is Coach Michael Thomas? What a like you say, he's timeless. And to have this team with a couple freshmen leading the way in the Elite Eight, hats off to Coach Thomas, no doubt.
Yeah, Coach Thomas is, to me, like a Gary Player. You see Gary Player at the Masters, as I do each and every year, and the guy never ages, and Coach Thomas is affable like Gary as well. He's got great stories. He'll sit down and talk basketball with you forever. And we just want to wish those guys up in T-Town all the best on the road to the Final Four.
Best dressed coach by far.
Even in his recreational attire, if you see him just in some sweats, it's always Natalie Dunn. Nothing's out of place. This guy is amazing. All right, let's keep it moving. Now we go to the girls in AA basketball. And I mean, it has been a hotbed of excitement as the girls have made it to the Elite Eight, the Grade 8, as I like to call it. Washington County ended Laney's season 56-50 on Friday. I had the call of that one, behind 45 free throw attempts to 11. So we'll just leave it at that. They're going to meet Callaway in that contest, Chad.
Well, and the Augusta Chronicle, hats off to them. Right after that loss from Laney, which I know was controversial. I think, which I know was controversial. Right after the loss, they published something that said this will be the first time since 1997 that the ladies have not been in the Elite Eight. We talked about North Augusta earlier. Coach Oda Smart and the Laney girls, unparalleled in their own way, even in a more impressive way when you talk about decades and decades worth of dominance.
You're good. You're good.
Can you hear me?
Yes. Yes, I got you. All right, Chad, talking about the decade of dominance for Laney, and obviously we know very well that the Wildcats, I was there in Sandersville on Friday, and I've been there broadcasting all along the way. If my memory serves me correct, we actually lost in the second round last year as well to Northeast Macon. So I believe that was a second round game, as I was doing some other responsibilities with Augusta University that day and wound up missing that contest. So Chad, can you hear me again? Not quite yet. So again, this is a live broadcast, so anything is possible. Chad will get locked back in as we'll continue. We'll give Chad an opportunity to come back in as well. This is the CSRA Sports Wrap Podcast with Charles McNeil and Chad Cook. And Chad, are you back with me? Not. Okay, he's not there. So let's go ahead and keep it moving. I can't hear his audio, but I'm sure they'll fix it down the network line. So now we're going to continue to move on. We touched on the fact that Washington County, and we want to wish Shug Parker and Miracle Parker, all the Parkers, the very best, as he captured his 300th victory with that win on Friday. Now Butler, who won by 10 points and 15 points over Berrien and Woodville Tompkins, will now travel to Columbia. Coach Ebony Fields has had a transformative year as her team has done it extremely well. They work the ball around and they find the open person. And, it's either Brady from the perimeter, it's Sims, Brionna Sims knocking down shots. They have really just a very talented group. And, of course, they can get inside to Jayla Thomas, and she cleans up everything in close. So this team has been fantastic. They knocked off their two opponents with ease, and now they are primed and ready to go as they will have a chance to move on to Columbia, and not South Carolina, but they'll face Columbia High School here in Georgia in the Elite Eight. GW Josie, their Lady Eagles. Oh, you're back with us, Chad. Go right ahead.
I think so. But, Butler girls, one thing noteworthy, in my opinion, is every time I see a clip of Butler, it's an assisted basket. A lot of times to Jayla Thomas with a nice pass. High school players tend to not look into the post anymore, but that team does. You can tell that Coach Ebony Fields has taught her girls how to play in a lot of different areas, one being how to make each other better through teamwork. And it's just, it comes through in all the clips that you see, and they look to be dominant.
Yeah, no question about it. And TW Josie, the Lady Eagles, they came out as the number 2 seed in Region 4, and they won at home 70-49 over Fitzgerald. And then they had a rugged road win on Friday at East Lawrence, a very difficult place to play. I remember when they were in our region several years ago, and it was always tough going down there.
Yeah, Josie, what a grizzled group, if that's the right word, as far as being tested and put through adversity over the years. Kashana Brown is a great player for Josie, only a junior. She's been through the ringer when it comes to adversity in a good way. So Kashana has all these Division I offers. She's a long wing, and she's a good player. But as you've chronicled over the years in your radio broadcasts, she went to the foul line to try to beat Laney a couple of years ago. A teammate of hers was injured, and in the final seconds, somebody's got to come into the game and shoot 2 free throws. They put her in, the freshman. She's unable to make them. They're unable to beat Laney. No big deal. Comes back a couple of years later. Region championship game, has a chance to tie the game, send it into overtime at the last second, has an open layup, left-handed layup, which isn't the easiest shot in the world, but for Kaishana, it's one she expects to make. It rolls out. All this adversity is making her and this Josie team stronger. They're all the way into the Elite Eight. Butler, I called them dominant. They are. Josie, just as talented, just as capable. Usually it's Laney that is the favorite to win the state title in this class, whatever class they're in. This year, I wouldn't count for a second Josie or Butler out.
Yeah, the green and gold will take on a little trip up the road to Elbert County, and that's where they'll be playing in their Elite Eight matchup. In the AA boys ranks, it will be an opportunity for us to see 3 more CSRA teams still dancing. On the boys' side, as champion Swainsboro Tigers, they narrowly escaped in overtime last night. A Laney team that was trying to make the biggest upset of the season. Jariah Lewis and I had the call. 74-68 in overtime was the final. Quan Collier dished out a nice pass to DJ Collins. We had the highlight for you, but we had a technical issue. Wouldn't allow us to get that to you. But bottom line is Quan Collier was a man on a mission, as he and DJ Collins had big games. They combined for 31 points. And also James Nipper also contributed 13, 10 points in the game for Jordan Stringer. So all the major names for Laney were at their best in that game last night. But it was Derek Jones who had 7 of his 9 points in the final minute. And then the twins, those twin guys, oh my gosh, they are amazing. They were able to get it by us in overtime. Swainsboro now hosts Lovett in the grade 8.
Frederick and Cedric Sebro, the great players, great football players too. So we've only got a few minutes. I want to ask you, so Swainsboro won it all last year, 2A?
They did.
Okay. So obviously they would be the favorite with Frederick and Cedric Sebro back, best 2 players from last year back for their senior year. They would be the favorite if it weren't for Pace Academy moving down from 3A to 2A. So, and that leads me to Butler. Am I right about this? Did Butler beat Toombs County 78-25 last night?
That's correct. That's correct.
Unreal. And so Butler, our lone team, like you mentioned, I know Waco, Swainsboro are in there, and good job to them. But as far as who we follow real closely, Butler's left. Now, Butler in any other year, if Pace wouldn't have come down, Butler, in my mind, would be the overwhelming favorite right now. Swainsboro, great team, defending champion, had trouble at home with Laney. With all due respect to Laney, Butler's been beating Laney handily for a couple games now. So this Butler team is really rolling, as you see Zabrielle Boozer finishing above the rim, got 6'4", 6'5" wings all the way around. And then everybody's favorite, the player of the year in this region, Ronnie Striegels, as we see here. here's a fun little sequence here as you see back-to-back baskets, and the guys are going to celebrate big time. But this Butler team is loaded. So, they would be, in my mind, the overwhelming favorite, even over a Swainsboro. But again, pace has come down. Who does Butler have to play next? Pace in the quarterfinals. Where does Butler have to play? At Pace in the quarterfinals. Why is Pace so good? Well, they have a guy named Matthew Cleveland who basically got snubbed for the McDonald's All-American game. He probably deserved to be in it. He's a Florida State recruit. All Florida State does is put guys in the NBA. So he's that kind of player. And, they've got Division I players all around him. It's a college, basically. Pace Academy is almost like a Harvard or a Princeton type college. We've got all the resources. Our guys from Lumpkin Road are going to go to Pace Academy, and their eyes are going to be wide open. They're not going to believe what they see around them. But I'll tell you what, when they get on that court, 5 against 5, man against man, I would not count those Butler Bulldogs out. I would not be surprised about an upset. Now, it would be an upset. There is it is somewhat of a mismatch here when it comes to like on paper talent. Florida State, Cleveland State, all these Division I players on the other side, on Pace's side. But Butler, if anybody in Class 2A can beat Pace, it's Butler, and I wouldn't put it past them for a second.
All right. Well, we got just 2 more teams to mention, and we'll do it briefly because we're running out of time here. In the GISA Single A playoffs, they've reached the Final Four, and it'll be Wednesday at Georgia Southwestern University. On the girls' side, Thomas Jefferson Academy out of Louisville, the 3rd seed, will take on the 2nd-seeded St. George's team in a 1 p.m. game. That's Wednesday at Georgia Southwestern. And at 5 o'clock on that same day, the Thomas Jefferson boys are also in action. They'll be in the Final Four as well, as they will be on center stage as they are the 2 seed taking on the 3rd seed Twiggs Academy. So we want to wish all those teams the very best. All right, Chad, our time is done. I hope you enjoyed it. It was been fast paced. We had a couple of technical snafus, but we'll work through those. As you can see, the sun is shining brightly in my studio. I'm washed out. I almost look as fair as some of my friends up north in the Northeast right about now with all that snow. But bottom line is we had a great time with you guys. Hope you enjoyed the CSRA Sports Rap podcast. It will be better in episode 5 coming up. And thanks to the coaches, players, all the alums, the fans who listened, watched, whatever you might have done. It's available to you always on SoundCloud and on YouTube. So make sure you grab it and make sure you reach out to us and let us know about your accomplishments in the upcoming week, your schedules as well. And Chad, any final thoughts?
Nope. Thank you. I appreciate it, guys. Seth Wesley, our producer, thanks for putting this together. And Charles, all the work you do to make it happen.
It's a lot of fun, without a doubt. So for Chad and for our director, Seth Wesley, I'm the Mac Daddy, Charles McNeil. And we thank you for watching. We'll hope to have you back here next time. Have a great day.
I do my best to impersonate a reporter is what I say a lot. Coach Kenny, please respond to what I said yesterday.
Thank you, Chad. When I heard the podcast and your statement is totally false information.
13 of 23 as Lucas White continues.
That's a big-time player making a big-time play. Darren Lucas White.